जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजना। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे। जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे। जय गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय। Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Samsthapanacharya Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupada Nitya Leela Pravishta His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Text number 39. Grivayam Janalokaha Asya Grivayam Janalokosya Tapolokaha Sthana Dvayat Tapolokaha Sthana Dvayat Murdhabihi Satyalokaha Tu Murdhabihi Satyalokastu Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha Grivayam Janalokosya Tapolokaha Sthanadvayat Murdhabihi Satyalokastu Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha Grivayam Janalokosya Tapolokaha Sthanadvayat Murdhabihi Satyalokastu Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha Brahmaloka Sanatanaha Grivayam Janalokosya Grivayam, up to the neck. Janalokaha, the Janaloka planetary system. Asya, of him. Tapolokaha, the Tapoloka planetary system. Sthanadvayat, beginning from the breast. Murdhabhihi, by the head. Satyalokaha, the Satyaloka planetary system. Tu, but. Brahmalokaha, the spiritual planets. Sanatanaha, eternal. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. From the forefront of the chest up to the neck of the universal form of the Lord are situated the planetary systems named Janaloka and Tapoloka, whereas Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of the form. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal. Translation with repetition. From the forefront of the chest up to the neck of the universal form of the Lord are situated the planetary systems named Janaloka and Tapoloka, whereas Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of the form. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Many times in these pages, we have discussed the spiritual planets situated beyond the material sky. And the description is corroborated in this verse. The word Sanatana is significant. This very idea of eternity is expressed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.20, where it is said that beyond the material creation is the spiritual sky, where everything is eternal. Sometimes Satyaloka, the planet in which Brahma resides, is also called Brahmaloka. But the Brahmaloka mentioned here is not the same as the Satyaloka planetary system. This Brahmaloka is eternal, whereas the Satyaloka planetary system is not eternal. And to distinguish between the two, the adjective Sanatana has been used in this case. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, this Brahmaloka is the loka or abode of Brahman or the Supreme Lord. In the spiritual sky, all the planets are as good as the Lord Himself. The Lord is all spirit, and His name, fame, glories, qualities, pastimes, etc. are all non-different from Him because He is absolute. As such, the planets in the spirit, in the kingdom of God, are also non-different from Him. In those planets, there is no difference between the body and the soul, nor is there any influence of time as we experience it in the material world. And in addition to there being no influence of time, the planets in Brahmaloka, due to being spiritual, are never annihilated. All variegatedness in the spiritual planets is also one with the Lord, and therefore the Vedic aphorism, Ekam evadvitiyam, is fully realized in that Sanatana atmosphere of spiritual variegatedness. This material world is only a shadow, phantasmagoria of the spiritual kingdom of the Lord. And because it is a shadow, it is never eternal. The variegatedness in the material world of duality, spirit and matter, cannot be compared to that of the spiritual world. Because of a poor fund of knowledge, less intelligent persons sometimes mistake the conditions of the shadow world to be equivalent to those of the spiritual world. And thus they make the Lord and his pastimes in the material world to be one with the conditioned souls and their activities. The Lord condemns such less intelligent persons in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Whenever the Lord incarnates, he does so in his full internal potency, Atma Maya, and less intelligent persons mistake him to be one of the material creations. Srila Sridhar Swami, therefore, rightly commenting on this verse, says that the Brahmaloka mentioned here is Vaikunta, the kingdom of God, which is Sanatana or eternal, and is therefore not exactly like the material creations described above. The Virat, universal form of the Lord, is an imagination for the material world. It has nothing to do with the spiritual world or the kingdom of God. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this part of the Srimad Bhagavatam we are reading in the second canto. And this chapter is called The Cause of All Causes. And in these verses, Lord Brahma is explaining to Narada about the universal situation. And this is described as the universal form. In Sanskrit it is called Virat Rupa, also called Vishwarupa. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 11th chapter, is called Vishwarupa Darshana. where the Lord showed his Vishwarupa. What is this Vishwarupa is being explained in greater detail. First of all, Vishwarupa is a kalpana that was used in the previous verse by Lord Brahma. Kalpayanti manishinaha. Thank you. Kalpana means a conception. It is a framework for our understanding. This is distinguished from Lord's transcendental form. Lord's form is not a kalpana, it's a reality. Just like we have a form in this material world, male form, female form, human form, animal form, bird form. This form is a real form, real in the sense you can feel it, it is not a kalpana. It is not an imagination. Kalpana also has the sense of imagination, conception. So now we are talking about the Lord. When we are trying to understand Lord, the Supreme Lord, it's always human tendency. When we try to understand something, we try to understand in terms of our experience. What we experience, what we know. In terms of our experience, we try to understand the Lord. Because we only have a vocabulary of our experience. And using that vocabulary, we try to conceive and understand. And now we are trying to understand God. And so we try to understand in terms of our experience. So Shastras, the Vedic literatures, want to change that way of thinking. Don't think only in terms of your limited experience. Especially when it comes to thinking and understanding God. And hence, the Vedic literatures and the great sages, kalpitaha, kalpayanti manishinaha, thoughtful people, sages, manishinaha, means thoughtful people, rishis, great sages, they have, to help us understand, they have explained or conceived or making us understand God as a universal form of God, Vishwarupa. Thinking in terms of our experience, understanding in terms of our experience, in Sanskrit, in Vedic literature, it is known as Kupa Munduka Nyaya. Kupa means a well, Munduka means a frog. There was a frog which was born in a well. It was a well. It's a small body of water, maybe 6 feet diameter, or 8 feet diameter, or maybe a big well, maybe 20 feet diameter, whatever it is. And this little frog was born there. His mother had given birth to some tadpoles, and he was swimming around. And later on he became a frog. And he grew up there, jumping around, hopping around, swimming, eating something. And he became a fairly mid-sized frog. The Shastras talk about Kupamundu Kanyaya, and Srila Prabhupada, when he was explaining this, he made it a little bit more dramatic. So this frog was living in the well, and one day a frog from the Atlantic Ocean fell into this well. Oh, this frog looked at him. Oh, a new frog, a foreign frog has come into his well. And both of them started conversing. So this is the drama that Prabhupada has created for our understanding. So this frog asked, "Where are you from?" Like we would usually ask if we meet somebody, "Where are you from?" And so that frog said, "I am from the Atlantic Ocean." And so this frog, who knew his experience was all about the well, he asked him, "Oh, Atlantic Ocean? Is that another well like this?" You see? He's trying to understand from his experience. And so the frog from the Atlantic Ocean looked around and he said, "No, Atlantic Ocean is a big ocean." So this well is still, this frog in the well, he's still thinking, "Oh, it's a bigger well than my well." You see, understanding from his experience. Then he said, "Oh yes, of course, it's much, much bigger." And then he continued, "Is it twice as big as my well?" And the frog from the Atlantic Ocean laughed and he said, "No, it is much bigger." So again, this frog in the well asked, "Is it 3 times, 4 times bigger than my well?" You see, all from his experience he is thinking. He's making his understanding about something he has heard now called Atlantic Ocean. Something new he had never heard. And so he's trying to understand, oh, it must be so much, 3 times, 5 times. And so the frog from the Atlantic Ocean said, "No, it is 1,000, maybe 1,000,000, maybe millions of times bigger than your well." And so this frog from the well, he laughed and he said, "How can it be possible? You're bluffing. You're talking some imaginary thing." And so he dismissed what the frog from the Atlantic Ocean was telling about the Atlantic Ocean. And said, "No, you're speaking some imaginary things. Forget it. I'm not going to take you seriously." But we know a well is a well, and an Atlantic Ocean is a vast body of water. And it exists. It's a fact. The Shastras give this example called Kupamundu Kanyaya in order to help us understand God. Don't measure terms of human experience. Shastras and the proprietor, owner, creator, universe. The whole universe is under his command. hard thing for us, because we know human experience. We measure everything. We calibrate what we want to understand in terms of our human experience. But now the Shastras are talking about the Supreme Lord. And hence, to help us come out of our own calibration, the Shastras talk about the universal form. The universal form conceived in terms of the different components in the universe. Our solar system has so many planets. All these planets are going around the earth, around the moon, around the sun. See, I'm making so many mistakes. And these planets are going around the sun. Earth is one of the planets which goes around the sun. These are called planets. And there are, beyond the planets, our solar system, there are galaxies, there is a Milky Way, and so many other things. There are many other stars. We read about that, right? And we also hear that there are astronomical bodies going around the planets, like we have the moon, which is going around Earth. And in high school science, we learn that the moon, that which goes around the planet, is called a satellite. Correct? I think that's what. And Saturn has some satellites. Uranus has some satellites. Earth has one satellite, the moon, which we see in the sky, and so on. Once I was addressing a small group of high school students in Bangalore. And they had read a Krishna book. They were preparing for the test. We have a contest on the basis of one of the books that Srila Prabhupada wrote. So one boy asked me, when there was a question-answer session, Prabhupada says, moon is a planet. But we have heard moon is not a planet, it's a satellite. So why does Prabhupada say it's a planet? Because, he must have read Prabhupada talking about Chandraloka. So, words in Sanskrit, in the scriptures, like Chandraloka, Suryaloka, here we are reading in this verse, Tapoloka, Janaloka, Satyaloka, so many other planetary systems. Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka, Brahmaloka. The word loka, Prabhupada translated to English as planetary system. It's not something that we have to worry too much about. It's a way of saying it. Yes, of course, moon is not a planet. We understand moon goes around, and if you want to use the terminology or the convention used in science, it goes something that goes around the planet is a satellite. That's okay. Here we are talking about planetary systems, and so we don't have to worry too much about that. Chandraloka can be translated as planetary system, and Suryaloka can be called a planetary. Somebody may say, oh, Surya is not a planet, it's a star, why are you calling it? We don't have to worry about that kind of a thing. So I was trying to explain to the young boy. So, these planetary systems that we know are conceived as the body of an imaginary body of the Lord called the Vishwarupa or the Virat Rupa. Virat means large, Huge, very big. That's the meaning. That's the sense of Virat Rupa, very big. And Vishwarupa, universal form. So, the universal form is imagined in such a way that all the different planetary systems, or shall we say, for the sake of the words that we have all learned in school and college, all the astronomical, large, universal, cosmic bodies that we see in the whole universe arranged in the form of the body of the Lord. And in that, the head of the universal form is Brahmaloka. And the Tapoloka, Janaloka, these are other planetary systems, and all of them are in the different parts of the body. And the earth, Bhuloka, is somewhere in the waist of the Lord. And there are many other planetary systems, Rasatala, Patala, and all of them are below the waist up to the feet of the Lord. And all of these planetary systems or astronomical bodies that we see in the universe are conceived to be a large body of the Lord. You understand? That's the kind, to give a certain sense. We are talking about Lord, and we understand human bodies. And so from known to something that we know unknown, we are trying to make that kind of an understanding, a transition in our understanding. So you want to understand God? God is like that. He's huge. Because now Prabhupada explains one important reason for this comparison. One very sound reason for this comparison is, we all understand our body. And if something is, itching in my leg, I'll just use my fingers and scratch that. Or something is happening, from head to toe, I have a fair degree of access, conscious, and control. Right? To some extent, something is happening here, I want to look at. So, in the same way, the universal form is compared to the body of the Lord to convey, just like the whole body is in my command in one sense, right? Of course, to a limited extent. I can access it, control it, touch it, feel it, rub it, whatever. In the same way, the whole universe is under the control of the Lord. Nothing is outside the control of the Lord. It is to convey that sense, like our body, we can touch and feel and we know what's happening. In the same way, the whole universe is under the grasp, under the control of that supreme God we are talking about. The sun and the moon and the planets, all within His grasp, in His control. Another sense that is also conveyed by Srila Prabhupada is that all the different parts of the body are my parts. It's my body. Like we go to a doctor and say, "Doctor, I'm having some pain in my ankle," I will say. It's my body. It's mine. And the ankle, there it is some problem I'm having there. My feet, my foot, I'm having some problem. My back, I'm having. These are all parts of me, my body. In other words, I have a relation with these different parts of the body. In the same way, God has a relation with all of these elements in the universe. It is His component parts. He has control. It is related to Him. It is His. Just like you will invite us, sometimes we will invite our friend, "Please, Swamiji, please, Prabhuji, come to my house." And we come to your house. "This is my house. This is our living room. This is where we have, this is where..." You'll show around the house. Because you feel, it is my house. In the same way, Lord feels the whole universe is His. It is His truly. So, to convey all of this, and just like we own a house, even if it's a big house, it's a small house compared to the whole world. And now for the Lord, this whole universe is His home. It is His. So for us to understand the conception of God, do not mistake God to be something small. God is gigantic. His powers are gigantic. His proprietorship, His ownership is gigantic. What He possesses is of gigantic proportions. It is to make us understand this. You see, this is it is to make us understand, and it is to make us develop some kind of a confidence in these things, and that's called Shraddha. Yes, now we are talking about God whose control, whose ownership encompasses the whole universe. It is to convey that sense. Now, this is the first aspect. That's why this being described here, that Griva means the neck. Janaloka Sthanadvayat Grivayam, from the chest up to the neck. All of these are Janaloka and Tapoloka. And Murdhani means the head. Satyaloka is the planet where Lord Brahma is situated. So like this, the universal form has all these different things. And then says Brahmaloka Sanatanaha. Brahmaloka, Satyaloka in fact is called Brahmaloka also, because Satyaloka is the planet or the planetary system of Lord Brahma. And so it can be called Brahmaloka. But here, the word tu is used. It is but. It was describing other planets. Now it's saying but. Brahmaloka Sanatana. So, Sanatana means eternal. And Brahmaloka Sanatana. The Brahmaloka which is eternal, the verse is saying. And so, it is Brahmaloka of Lord Brahma, even that is not eternal. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartinorjuna Mamupetyatu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. Krishna says. Even Brahmaloka is temporary. It will also be finished when Pralaya happens. Everything will be finished, including Brahmaloka. But here it is said, Brahmaloka Sanatanaha, eternal. And hence, Acharyas are pointing out, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out, here this Brahmaloka refers to something that's beyond the universe, which is eternal, which is Sanatana, which is the Vaikuntha. So that's a clarification that is being given. Now, something that is eternal. This concept is introduced to us in our Vedic literatures. And we must try to understand this a little bit more carefully. What is this eternal? Like, we all know, we have a dream when we sleep in the night for long enough. And in our dream, we see so many things. We see some of the people whom we know in our life also. We'll see husband, wife, children, friends, business partners, enemies. Everybody we will see. And then the alarm bell goes off, alarm clock, or your mobile rings, and then we wake up and say, that was a dream. Suppose there is a student who's studying very hard for his exam, and he goes to sleep, and in the sleep he has a dream. And in the dream he has passed the exam. Now when he wakes up, oh, I already passed. He won't think. Right? That was dream. You passed in the dream exam. Now you please pass in the real exam, we will say. Or if a businessman, he's dreaming and he makes a big deal and he makes a profit, 100 crores. In the dream, all his friends, all his business associates, 100 big profit he made. And suddenly the alarm bell goes off and then he wakes up. He won't go and let me go check my bank balance, whether the 100 crore is reflected in the bank. He will go and won't do that. Because we know it's a dream. It's temporary. In fact, dream is such a temporary thing. We can't, even in the dream, let me go back to that dream where I made 100 crores. You can't go back. It was just a dream. It went away. Everything that we saw in the dream, the relationships, all the success, all the failure, whatever we experienced, everything went away. Because it's temporary, anitya. Now, let's come to our experience, our world here. Here in this world, this doesn't look like a dream. Even if I go to sleep, I come back and I see the same people. I see the same reality. I see the same house I was living in last night before I went to sleep. So this looks a little bit more real, isn't it? This is not a dream. But the Shastras say, no, please think carefully. In our previous life, we were in some other family, in some other situation, in some other form. And we had a father, mother, brother, sister, probably, wife, husband, probably, children, probably, house. And in that life, there was another alarm bell that rang. And we were shipped out of that reality. And we have come into this reality. Even if we want, we cannot go and access that. I want to see my father and mother of my previous life. No. And in this world, we have seen people around us. For some of them, another alarm bell goes off and they leave us and go. After that, we cannot contact them at all. We knew them so well. They were a living persons. We had a relationship. We know that person had so many plans, ambitions, feelings, emotions. We were all, and I was also experiencing with that person those relations. And suddenly, he went away. And although we say he's gone, when he went away, we saw the body with which we were interacting with him. He's still there. And he's gone, we say. In fact, our language changes. You see, sometimes we hear on the phone, oh, somebody passed away. Oh, really? Okay, I want to come and see. Then they will say, we are bringing the body to the house from the hospital. See, the language also changed. Earlier they would say, we are bringing him back from the hospital. We are bringing him back from the college. We are bringing him back from the office. Something we would say. Now we say, we are bringing the body back. Yes, you can come and see the body. The body will be there up to 2 o'clock. After that we are taking the... You see how it changes? And this is going to happen to each one of us. This is it's a rude thing to say. It's going to happen to all of us. I remember when I was young, I was still in college those days, I started reading Srila Prabhupada's books. And in Prabhupada's books, in the Shastras, these things are openly discussed. One day we are going to die. This world is called Martya Loka, where everybody dies. It's called the world of death. And so I came home, and I was still young boy, college boy. And then I started talking to my mother one evening, telling about, this is Lord, life is like this, the Shastras talk. And my mother said, shh. In the evening, after the lights have been lit in the house, don't talk of inauspicious things like death. You see how it is? Yes, it is considered inauspicious, and we don't want to deal with it. Put it aside. Talk about positive things, in life. What are you going to do? What business you're going to do? What job you're going to do? How successful you're going to be? What's your plan? Let's talk some positive things, Yeah, we may talk, but that's also part of reality. We cannot escape that. And so let's face it. Let's talk about it. Let's know what it is. This is how the Shastras say that this world is also is temporary. And one day we will be shipped out of this situation to another situation, and we cannot even come back, even if we want. I want to just look at my business, how it is doing. I want to come back and see. No. We will not be allowed to come back and see. This is reality, isn't it? So is this world a real world? Or this is another extended, protracted, long dream? So just like from the dream we came to this world, which looked a little bit more concrete and substantial. From here, we get shipped out to some other reality, and we can't even access back this reality. Although we are relating with so many people here, we have strong relationships here. Everything we have to cut off and go. Where do we go? What is happening around us? I may temporarily postpone discussion about all this, put it aside, think only about this world. But one day, this experience I am going through is going to end. And there is one verse, Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate asata. Ubhayor api drushtontas tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. Tattvadarshi means, tattva means truth. And darshi means one who has seen the truth. Tattvadarshi bihi are those who have seen the truth, realized the truth. They are telling us antaha. Antaha means end, or in conclusion they are telling. They are making a conclusive statement. Ubhayorapi drushtontas tvanayos tattvadarshi bihi. They have compared the two. What are the two? Krishna is talking about two things. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. You see, in this word, Krishna uses two words, sat and asat. Sat means that which is existing, and asat means that which is not existing. Asat. Like the dream is asat. So, Krishna is saying, for something to be called sat or asat, the test is endurance. Something that endures is sat. Something that does not endure is asat. Our dream is asat. It is temporary. It has no existence. It has no substantial existence. In the dream we felt it was very substantial. But moment we come out of it, it's gone. That's why we passed an exam, we made some business success, we made some money. It doesn't bother us. It is asat. Now look at our existence here. Endures in time. Endures in time. It does not endure. And hence, this world is also asat. It is anitya. It is not nitya. But if you see, in all of us, there is a craving for sat, an eternal situation. We want an eternal situation. We want eternal relationship. We want eternally to be happy. We want happiness which is eternal. We don't want anything which is temporary. Our craving is for eternal things. That is why Krishna says, Prabhupada is mentioning here, this world is called the world of duality. Prabhupada is mentioning here, this world is called the world of duality. Dvandva world. There is matter, bones, blood, tissue, organs, is all matter. But there is a spirit inhabiting this. The spirit is eternal. Matter is temporary. That spirit is sat, now captured in an asat body. This asat body will be gone. There is an element, the spirit. Because of the presence of the spirit, I am talking. If I am a singer, I can sing. If I am somebody who's some intelligent planner, you give a solution problem, I will solve. All this I can do because the spirit is present in this material framework. And when that spirit goes, this is just material framework which will be disposed by setting it on fire. The body that we looked after so much, we gave good food, good dress, good housing, we're very concerned about prestige. That body will be turned to ashes. This is reality. And hence, Krishna, from the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, he tries to bring Arjuna and us, who future readers of the Bhagavad Gita, please understand, there is a sat element in this body, and we may have to dutifully take care of our body, but we must try to understand that eternal sat element. And so Bhagavatam, in this particular verse, Brahma is describing, this is what the universe is all about. This is the universal form of the Lord. But beyond this universal form is Brahmaloka Sanatana. There is another, beyond this, there is Parastasmatu Bhavonyo Vyakto Vyaktat Sanatana. Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, beyond this universe, there is a world of eternal. Now, this eternal spirit, if we prepare ourselves, can transfer ourselves to that eternal atmosphere. There, yadgatva na nivartante taddhama paramam mama. That eternal reality, if we go to, we don't have to come back here to this world. And Krishna is saying, that world is my dhama. It's my abode. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That's my parandhama. So from the dream to this world, from this world, let's now aim to go to the Parandhama, which is eternal. So there, our craving for an eternal situation will be fully satisfied. This is the presentation of the Vedic literatures. This is the presentation of the Bhagavad Gita. And that Supreme Lord came from his Parandhama to this world to tell us about this. Because otherwise, we can never get that information by our own independent search of knowledge. And hence, he himself comes, or he sends his representatives from the spiritual world, the acharyas, who tell us about this eternal situation. Otherwise, we are so absorbed in our temporary situation. We have made this temporary situation all and all, and we are only immersed in this temporary situation whole life. So, Shastras and the Acharyas are urging us that this is a temporary situation. We are not saying don't attend to it, don't neglect it, but understand that it has a temporary reality, it has a temporary value, and there is something that is more eternal. We should try to achieve that eternal situation. That's the message of the Vedic literatures. We'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, one short question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Recently we had Damodar month where Krishna showing the in his mouth he showed the Damodar whole universe to his mother. So that universe and the universe which we are seeing, the universe were manifested in front of us. So is there a difference, or
it's the same universe?
It's the same
universe. And all the universes are in the universal form of the Lord. It is the same universe. That's why Mother Yashoda. See what happens. We talked about God and his form and his proportions and his size is gigantic. But that Lord, who has such a gigantic universal force and strength and energy, he appeared as a small boy here in Vrindavan. And hence it was bewildering to everybody. He's God? And so Mother Yashoda was caring for him. Actually, who can care for God? God is the one who is taking care of all of us. If he stops caring for us, finished, we will crumble and collapse. But Mother Yashoda was caring for him. So people who are watching, they may think that, oh, he's also a small child after all. So now and then Krishna wanted to show to the world who he is. And when somebody complained to Mother Yashoda that he had eaten dirt, and so Mother Yashoda said, show me your mouth. And Mother Krishna innocently opened his mouth. And she saw the whole universe in his mouth. In other words, the whole universe is under his control. It is his universe. The whole universe, he pervades in the universe. If he wants, he can compress it and put it in his mouth and show it to his mother. He has all these mystic powers. It's the same universe that, and then Mother Yashoda, what's happening to my child? I'm seeing the sun, the moon, all the planets, all the galaxies. And she saw the earth. And in the earth, she saw Vrindavan. And she saw herself. And she saw Krishna there. She became even more bewildered. What's going on? And she fainted, almost fainted. And then Krishna realized, no, Mother Yashoda, she shouldn't faint. And he withdrew that experience and became, Mommy, please give me some butter, give me some. Oh, yes, I'll give you. She again, Mother Yashoda hugged him. So that's why Prabhupada has quoted this verse. When the Lord comes here, who is the Lord of the entire universe, don't think that he is an ordinary person. That's why Krishna has used a very strong word here. Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanum ashritaha. Param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools think that when I come here in the human form, they don't know my true nature. They think I'm just an ordinary person. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanum ashritaha. Mudha, foolish person. Avajananti mam avajananti. Manushim tanum ashritaha. When I appear in the human-like form, fools think that I have God is just an ordinary person. They don't know me.